Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ultimate 2026 Marketing Strategy for Generator Leads. This is the third time that I'll be doing this annual webinar, and I like to make sure that it's clean and we move through it pretty quickly. It could take me days to go through an entire digital strategy in the very, very detailed parts of it. So I'm going to try to keep it smooth and sweet. The biggest piece of this is really to just set our revenue goals and set our KPIs and build the strategy from the expected money part. So it's how much is this going to cost? How much do we want to set aside, and how much and where should we spend our money? So this is like the biggest question for everybody. Instead of just having some random Facebook guy say, give us $2,000 a month and we'll run your ads, or a random Google guy say, give us $2,000 a month, we'll run your ads. But you really have to know where you are budgeting this money, because lead flow comes from a lot of different places, not just Facebook, not just Generac Power Play, not just Google Ads, and not just your website or Google profile. So it's coming from a whole bunch of different channels. I want to make sure that you guys understand each one of those channels and where to budget your finances and how much to budget overall. So let's make sure that and I'll switch over to my screen a little bit. This is a working section. So we'll make sure that we have all the details. Make sure you download that workbook. We'll have a link for that too. That's in the top of the chat if you're new, if you don't have that workbook. So here's the plan for our session. We're going to set clear goals and targets for the entire year of January 2026. That's after we've identified, where's my page? Here it is. Back to Zoom. Okay. That's after we've identified how much money we're going to spend and where we are coming from the year of 2025. Okay, we're going to realign our KPIs and our tracking so that we can achieve these outcomes, right? So the KPIs meaning how many leads we need to get on a monthly basis, what we need to do to get those leads, and making sure that it gets done on a monthly basis. So we're going to kind of break this down per month or per season, whenever your busy season is and slow season, things like that, and try to allocate your budget accordingly. Map out our plan for accomplishment. So I'm going to take you through what your website should look like, any changes or modifications that you should be making on your website to help with conversion, anything that you should be doing for your reputation, anything you should be doing for your email list, anything you should be doing for optimizing results and looking at the tracking and the data. We're going to take a look at your budget, figure out exactly how much you should spend for the entire year, and break it down and try to figure out how we're going to get the leads from each one of the channels that bring leads. Well, I'm going to go over some important trends too and set you up for massive success for 2026 and beyond. Hopefully that's the goal anyway. So here's a link to that workbook. Not sure if you got it. Great. If anybody doesn't have it, just shoot me a text. I have a team member on here that can shoot that link in the chat. But if you have pen and paper too, that also works. Okay. So who am I and why should you listen to me? So hopefully you guys have heard Brandon, it's coming. Let's make sure that. Yeah, I do have Christian. If you're here, can you please post that link to the workbook? It actually might be just right here in my stream here. Ah, I got it. Christian didn't have it. All right, there you go, Brandon. That's our workbook link. Okay. So going back to who am I? Why should you listen to me? Hopefully you guys have heard of me and seen Power Source around, maybe seen us on Facebook. Hopefully you've gotten our postcard. We sent out a tremendous amount of postcards in the last couple of weeks. And we've been doing this for several years now, working specifically with generator dealers. I'm not an electrician. I'm a marketer by trade, commercial artist by trade, actually. I have 18 or more experience in internet marketing, running a generalist agency. I've worked directly with more than 75 generator dealers across the country since 2014. I've spoken at mastermind cohort events like NEGDA and haven't spoken at EXA yet, but we are a member. I am the author of Digital Marketing for Generator Dealers. There's my book. If you haven't gotten this, I do send this out for free. So if you're interested in getting this, will actually cover everything that we're going to go over today. I lost my, there it is. Nope. I don't know how that, hold on one second, guys. This I need to, oh boy, presenter view. I don't know how this went away, but it went away. I promise this is all worth the trouble. Okay, so going back to this a little bit. Good. Got the postcard. Oh, proof analog still works. Yes. Oh man, don't sleep on print. People are getting postcards, and this is direct mail should be a part of your strategy. This is also something that we will cover, and I'll show you who we use and some great retargeting too. So people visit your website and they get postcards in the mail just from visiting your website. Use a great company for this. I'll get into some of those details, but it can be very effective, especially during some of the slower months. All right, going back to this. Okay, I'm the author of digital marketing. I showed you that. And I'm also the creator of Powering Success podcast, where we mostly interview our clients and owners of generator dealers in the industry that have been in the industry for 20 years, in the industry for 2 years. So be sure to check that podcast out. And where this is all going is that just to reiterate our expertise in this industry, specifically in the generator dealer industry. Everything that I show you today is not based on theory. It's based on our real life experience over the last 5 years working directly with generator dealers and only generator dealers too. So we get into a little bit electrical, but only if the generator dealers also do electrical, also do mini splits, also do, HVAC, things like that. Primarily the generator space. And we're currently across the US. We have a dedicated team. This is my executive team, where all we do all day long is content creation, web design, web development, managing ad campaigns, PPC ad campaigns, Google ad campaigns, watching the progress, helping with ranking, everything under the sun. We are doing it in-house, and we don't offshore any of this work either. We have a very good understanding of these different brands and the things that they offer, the things to help you utilize maybe Generac Co-op or Kohler Co-op money. We are helping our clients make sure that we are getting the reimbursement that we need for Google ad campaigns, Facebook ad campaigns, postcard development. Generac, you can utilize your co-op with Generac with those types of things. And we're trying not to leave money on the table, repeating that saying that Generac is always pushing. So let's get to it. Now that we've gone through who I am, we're going to get into our ultimate 2026 marketing strategy for generator leads. And the first thing I want to show you just some of the bigger trends that are coming up, the popularity of AI. This is not something that you have to really be concerned about. This is something that we are watching very closely. If you keep coming to our webinars, we will continuously have webinars on AI and how to utilize AI, but primarily the focus is still on Google in terms of home services and generator installations, generator maintenance, generator repair. People are on the Google map. They're on Google. They are searching there, primarily there. So your first and foremost Google business profile and your Google organic ranking is top priority. And I'm going to get into a little bit of the proof of why that is your top priority. And ChatGPT and Grok and all these other Perplexity and all these other AI chat systems, they're hard to rank for, but we are ranking for it. And I'm going to show you a little bit of how you can affect that too. We are seeing clients are getting leads from ChatGPT and from Gemini and from these different AI engines. So what we're doing is effective for those channels, but it's not something that you can put down as a hard, this is where we need to focus. I wouldn't do that, but it's something to keep an eye on. Online scheduling, this is becoming more and more of a repeat request from potential customers. They want to do online booking. They don't want to talk to people anymore. They want to just go to your website. They want to schedule their estimate. They want to pick their day and their time for an estimator to come out to their house and talk with them. This is becoming more and more of a less friction, the better, right? You will still get people that want to call, fill out a form, or just reach out to you and talk to somebody, but there are still those people, and this is rising, that want to just book online and they don't want to talk to anybody until they come to the house. Something you have to think about, try to integrate. I can get into a little bit of that a little bit later on. Two-way text messaging, also really big. A lot of the softwares do this. RingCentral has two-way text messaging. House Call Pro, CallRail, or Chirp has two-way text messaging. Something that you might want to get your CSR team involved with is to be able to communicate with potential leads via text message. or at least have a phone number on your site that can accept text messages and just shoot you an email when a text message comes in. Then you can just grab that person's phone number, put them in your phone, and just text them directly so they feel like they've gotten through via text message and they can chat that way. And AI lead follow up, having, if you want to use AI voices is up and coming, something to keep an eye on. Having AI answer your phone for you and to schedule appointments and to schedule estimates. This is really important, something that's going to be widely used. I actually just booked a garage door service for my house with an AI voice assistant. I went to the website, I called the phone number. It was clearly AI, and it said, "Hey, I'm an AI chatbot. I'd like to book your appointment." It was such a breeze, so easy. Authentic video content. This is not like a new trend, but this is the biggest trend. So the one thing that AI cannot reproduce and you can't do easily is authenticity. And this is what people really looking for. I promise you, having a picture of your team, of yourself, of your trucks on your website and on your social channels, on your Google profile will relate with people and it will help with conversion. So schedule a photo shoot in the spring, get some really great photos, get some great video, just document the whole process and cut that back, run some ads with that kind of thing. But the authenticity, you cannot beat that with anything. It's got to come from you guys. So make sure that you're focused in on creating your own content. Even if you are a one-off guy and you're running your business on your own, it should be you and your wife and your kids, picture of you and your family right there on the homepage so that visitors hit your website, they know that you're real, they want to work with people, and they can relate to you very quickly. This is big for conversion. Okay, let's set some clear goals. I'm not going to switch over to the workbook, but we do want to talk about goals. I'm a fan of Brian Tracy, wrote a lot of really great books for goal setting. And he says, success is goals, all else is commentary, which basically just means that if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a actual financial goal or actual goals, you may never get there. You may just be working, work comes in, you get referral calls just come in, and you're just out there working. You're like a sailboat out on the ocean with no wind, and you're just going with where the waves are taking you. So if you have a down season, you're going to be down. If you have an up season, you'll be up. Something that you can't control. So if you have goals, even if you just have it written down, or if your team knows of your goals, awareness perceives change, right? So if you're aware of where you want to go, that is going to automatically just perceive that change. So want to make sure that you have your goals so that you're in the wind and you're going in the direction that you want to go on a regular basis, not just your end of the year goal, but your monthly goals, your weekly goals, your daily goals. So we do want to spend some time on this and make sure that we got goals. We have our goals written down. So the first thing we want to do, and even if you don't have the workbook or if it's not printed, you can open up a separate doc, a Google Doc or something like that. And we want to track our current snapshot, okay? Our typical number of installs per month. How many did we do in 2025? You could also put this in the chat too. But that would be great if you guys want to share. But how many installs did you do on average per month in 2025? What's your average revenue per install? So if we're strictly residential installs, we're probably going to be around 14, 15,000 on average. And how many maintenance contracts do you have? This is also something to keep in mind of the maintenance contracts. This is annual recurring revenue. This also keeps you top of mind with your customers and potentially builds a referral base. Your total annual revenue for maintenance contracts, that's something to break out separately. Your average revenue from other services, if you do electrical or HVAC, things like that, we're actually just trying to focus on the generator so you can keep that aside. And your total annual revenue and then your total monthly revenue from 2025. And you could probably just estimate this on a piece of paper or anything like that. I know people don't want to actually just put this in the chat and be like, hey, we're doing $2 million or $5 million in 2025. So that's not a big deal. What we want to do after that is set our 2026 goal and our future vision. Okay. And I have a worksheet that you guys can go to. And I'm going to actually pull that up on my screen so I can show you how that works. And we want to look at our typical number of installs per month, how many we want to do, how many more maintenance contracts we want to get, what our total annual revenue is, what we want it to be, and our total monthly revenue. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here's our sheet. I'm going to actually share my screen. I'm going to go right to this sheet. Okay, so here's our sheet, and there is a link for this in the workbook, but I'm going to just show you an example and how this could work. So if our goal, if anybody wants to give me a goal, that'd be fine. But if our goal is 2,500,000, we want to then have a monthly revenue target 625,000. And if we're just tracking $2.5 million of generators and we're at an average of 15,000 per installation, overall revenue for generator installs, we would need 42 per month, 42 installs per month to hit that 2.5 million range. Maybe this is a little high. Let's go with a million five, since nobody wants to share their actual revenue target for 2026. If you're at like if you're currently at a million, maybe your target is 1,000,005. You're currently at 500,000, maybe your target is a million. So we want to make sure that we have our target honed in here and basically know how many installs you need on a monthly basis. So 25. Already you can feel like, all right, now I know the math and I know I need 25 installs per month. Okay, then now all we have to do is figure out how we're going to get them. Sounds easy. So on average, what would you say your average conversion rate is? So what percentage of when people are calling you or filling out the forms, what percentage of all of those leads that you get on a consistent basis, what percentage are you actually closing or converting into a customer? So typically we see a 33% or we see a 40% close rate. Some guys might say it's like a lot higher, but when in reality, if you're getting leads from PowerPlay, if you're getting leads from Facebook, they're not all going to be great. You can convert maybe 5 out of 100 leads. That's a very small percent. So you want to make sure that this is kind of like a blended percentage in terms of your conversion rate. So if we're at 33%, we need 76 install leads on a monthly basis. I'm just going to jump over, just going to check out what my next slide is here. So we want to write that down on that next page in that workbook. We want to write down what our revenue target goal is, right? The number of leads per month that we need, which is 76 on a 1.5 million in revenue, and the number of jobs or installs per month that we're going to get. So that's 25. So this is super important to have this written down, put it on your cork board or put it in front of you. So this is just, you may not hit it, but it's something that you're going to have in the back of your mind, or your team is going to see, this is what we want to do. This is where we should be at the end of every single month. If we hit this number, we're going to do something for the team or something like that. Awareness precedes change. I love this phrase because it really is true. It will subconsciously make things happen. So this next tab in here, okay, the next tab, so your annual projected revenue, you put that in, okay? This is what we're projecting for 2026. What percentage of your marketing budget do you want to allocate for marketing from the anticipated? So if you want to make $5 million, you can't just go and work. You have to have wind in your sails, right? You have to have some kind of percentage from what you're anticipating. Got to spend money to make money, right? So you want to make sure that you have a good understanding, good idea of how much money you want to spend in your marketing budget. And we basically say, I don't have my, okay, I don't see it. I don't see it on here. But we basically say that anywhere between 3 and 5%, you're going to stay at your normal marketing pace. Whatever you did last year, you'll do this year if you just allocate 3 to 5%. Anywhere between maybe 6 and 9%, 6 and 8%, you're going to have some steady growth or some a little bit of increase in your lead flow. And anything beyond 10%, maybe 10 to 15% is an aggressive approach. And that's like pushing it. So if you can put aside 10%, then you will see dramatic difference. It makes sense. And I'm sure if you put 10%, you're probably saying, yeah, I'm not going to put $150,000 into marketing. It is a lot of money, especially when you're only bringing in 1.5 million. So you may have to start smaller. And if you could bring in, maybe put it at 7%, we're only at 105,000, spread out over the entire year. And a lot of guys are less risk takers. So you might be down at 5%, which is which might be sitting on the fence between staying the same and doing a little bit better, depending on how well you allocate those funds into marketing will depend on doing a little bit better. So let's stick with 5%, and we're going to look at our total marketing budget of 75 grand for the entire year 2026, and that breaks it down to $6,250 per month of marketing. Okay, here's how we recommend breaking that down. So we want to break it down a little further. You don't want to just give an agency $6,250 on a monthly basis and hope that they're going to bring you leads, especially qualified leads that close at 33%. So you want to allocate 80% to online marketing. We're going to break that one down even further. Have 15% for offline. That's going to be your postcards. That's going to be your local, maybe the diner mats or your billboards or radio, things like that that are primarily offline, things that you can utilize your co-op funds with. And then allocate a very small amount of money to working on your repeat business, having some software to run email marketing campaigns, having some SMS text messaging, or paying somebody on the side to help you reach out to existing customers, things like that. So you want to have a little bit of money to push the referral business, because this is working with people that love working with you. So we're going to take that 80% of our allocated online marketing funds, and now we want to separate that out between online marketing. Sorry, I'm going to go down here. We're going to break that out to SEO, PPC, and retarget. These are your monthly spends for each of these. You spend 5 grand a month on your online, almost a grand for your offline marketing, postcards, mailings, things like that, and then $312 for any kind of referral business. Now, when we break down online marketing, we're recommending a 60, 35, and 5. So 60% into your SEO. And I'm going to show you why that is primarily where you want to get the majority of your leads. This is money that is this is investing in your business money. Whereas PPC, we're at 35%. This is not investing in your business. This is putting money out there so that you can buy leads. And when you stop putting that money out there, your leads stop coming in. So we want to focus the majority of that spend on SEO, because it's like working on your business, working on the actual framework and the foundation of how your business lies in digital that will carry you for a long time. And then 5% on remarketing and retargeting. So we have a very small amount of people that are hitting our website or clicking our leads and seeing our content. We want to allocate a little bit of money to make sure that they continue to see us when they're out there. It doesn't cost that much to maintain a retargeting campaign. So now we're looking at setting aside 3 grand a month to write content, post to your social channels, post your Google business profile, make sure your website is converting, add more pages to your website on a regular basis, assist with automation, assist with things like that, all attributes to SEO. And I'm going to get into search engine optimization in a few minutes. And then make sure and also this is also going to include some money to manage all of that. So you may have to hire somebody outside, you may have to pay somebody inside, things like that. That has to go into your SEO budget. You got $3,000 a month to help get you there. And now your pay-per-click, $17.50 a month for pay-per-click. This is a good amount of money if it's just going to ads. If you want to run the ads yourself, you have $17.50 per month for ad spend. If you hire somebody, you have to break that down into what you pay that person. I'm not a big fan of the companies that charge $2,000 just to run an ad campaign. Where is that $2,000 going when an ad campaign is developed and created one time, all of your content, and then it has to learn for 2 weeks, and then your ad campaigns have to run and operate consistently for weeks after that. And they should not be constantly updated, because every time you update the ads have to go through the whole learning process again. So unless you're tweaking your demographics and your location, things like that, you should not be touching the ads on a constant basis like that. So 2 grand a month to manage ad spend is very high. You want to utilize as much of that $17.50 as you can. And then $250 a month for retargeting. Very simple. Somebody hits your website, they click on any of your ads, they will continue to see your ads. This does not cost a lot of money to set up a retargeting campaign and make sure that existing visitors are seeing your content. So this is how we break it up. And I just want to see if anybody has any questions on any of that. I know it's a lot of numbers and it's a lot to take in, but there is a link to the spreadsheet. If you go to here, you're only going to be able to view. So if you go up to File, make a copy, you can save this for yourself on your own Google account, and you can utilize this however you want, adjust the numbers as you go, and sit with your team and plan this out and make sure that you've got good goals and good direction. There's some other things in here that you might want to take a look at too. I've got a few tabs in here. Our average cost per lead by source. Okay, so here's the other thing. We're going to pay a different amount of money per lead based on where they're coming from. So when you run, all right, PPC, pay per click from Google Ads for search, so that your ads come up when people are actively searching for installs or maintenance contracts, things like that, you're going to pay a little bit on the higher end because the intent is direct. These people are looking for you, putting your ad up there and getting that person to click your ad, call you up, close the deal for $15,000 in revenue. You're going to compete a little bit with some of your local competition, and Google's going to charge you a little bit more because it's a higher quality lead. Okay, social ads, on the other hand, $75 is actually a little high. You might be able to get Facebook leads in for less than $50 a lead. We've seen it in less than $50 per lead from a $1,000 spend. But the social ads, they're like power play leads. Jennifer it doesn't have the ability to make a copy. Let me check that share setting. Anyone with the link should be able to copy that. All right, I'll take a look. Okay, Gregory did. Okay, okay. All right, Jennifer, let me know if you have any, maybe refresh the page. You might be able to save that copy. Otherwise, I can get your own after we're done. So, social ads, like I said, these are like power play leads. They're what they're called. Some people call them dirty leads. We don't even know why this is the case, but some people will actually click on your ad, go to your website, fill out their information, and then you'll call them up and they'll be like, yeah, I'm not really interested. So we're confused as to why they even filled out the form. But maybe the intent is very different there. You're putting your ads on social media in front of people who aren't looking. They're not interested. And you're trying to get them interested, or you're trying to have the right timing so that you can get in front of the people that are maybe they just recently had an outage, or they have a storm coming up. It's like the perfect timing is, yep, I'm going to forward this to my wife or forward this to my husband. We need to do this. Get these guys here so we can find out what the cost is and all that other stuff. You know what I could do is I can just share this sheet link. Hmm. Oh, there it is. I'm going to share it right here in the chat. Okay. Jennifer, let me know if that works. Just sent that. That link takes you directly to this worksheet where you can file, make a copy. Beautiful. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, like I said, social ads will have less cost per lead, but you'll have more to fend with. The intent isn't there, so it's going to take more to actually get them to convert. Now, SEO is going to cost you probably $60 per lead or maybe even better. But if you got your SEO really dialed in and you are showing up on search and you are showing up on the Google map, people are finding you quickly when they're searching in and around your area for generator installations or maintenance or service. That's almost like free advertising because you're organically there. So this is where we want to focus. In our blended average, we want to see cost per lead around $100 per lead on a regular basis. Now, just one caveat here, if you're spending too much money, there is a critical mass where you can spend too much money and it will not affect how many leads you bring in. So you can incrementally increase it, maybe $20 a day, $30 a day, $50 a day. We don't typically see clients going beyond $100 a day and benefiting from that jump. Thanks for your Google Sheets, everybody. That works. Okay. On this document too, we have some ideas for email marketing and just another sheet that you can use. There's also a marketing calendar for electrical. There's some special offers that we've done in the past, load banking, service contracts, OEM warranty, renewals, things like that, that might be beneficial. Okay, I'm going to stop my share and we're going to move on here. Just got to find my presenter. There it is. Okay. All right. Good. Air clicker works. All right. Now your marketing strategy. So now that we know how much money we're going to spend and where we're going to spend it, all right, we want to now know exactly what do we need to do. Okay. So where do we need to focus our money and why do we need to focus our money in these different areas? This is where the real meat and potatoes is. So it's in the accelerated growth model that we've developed. And what we want to do on a constant basis is just three primary things. We want to drive leads, maximize conversion, and optimize these results. So to try to really simplify a digital strategy, you have to focus in on each one of these on a regular basis. So when we talk about driving leads, we're going to talk about three different things. We're going to talk about organic SEO, paid search, and our database of emails. And then we'll get into a little bit of offline too. So the first thing we want to review is organic SEO. So does SEO still matter? And I've been pushing, this is where all the money goes. This is where your effort should go. This is where more time goes. This is where you invest in your business. And I'm going to show you why. So when we talk about the Google search engine result page, we see local service ads on the very top. That's Google guaranteed. Some of you might be using it for electrical. Then you see the Google ads, which is sponsored. And then these two sections here, this is the local pack, map listings, and your organic results. This is where we're talking, okay? This is the area that we're focusing in on. Across all of our clients, we're seeing an average of 71% of all clicks and calls are coming in via this section. You cannot pay to be in here. You cannot pay to be here. So 71% of leads, and if you're only getting leads from social media, if you're only getting leads from paying for ads or Google ads or Facebook ads, and your website doesn't really do anything, people don't really call, then you are missing out on the lion's share of leads. And we also know that 67% of all of those, 71% click on within those first five positions. So it's not just important to have good ranking, but it's important to have the best ranking. Top three, top two. This is Bold Electric, Bold Generators, just right there on the top of those search results in a lot of different areas. Not just this one general search, North Plainfield, but we want to also shoot for Summit and Wayne and Patterson and all these different towns that you may or may not rank in. So it's important to look at all of that and rank in the map pack. Just a few, I'm going to just go through a few of these breakdowns. These are actual dashboards of some of our clients. Our client in Cape Cod, we see 14 leads organic on the website and 15 leads from the Google Maps. This is 67% of all leads come in organic. On the Delmarva Peninsula, our client in Delaware, 13 from the website, 19 from the Google Business Profile. This is 70% organic. Fort Smith, Arkansas, 74% of their lead flow comes in organically. Sacramento, California, 63% organically. So SEO still matters. So we want to make sure that we are putting most of our effort into the search engine optimization, which now takes us into our what about the AEO and GEO? This is the generative engines. This is the answer engines. This is the AI search results. This counts for SEO. So search engine optimization, we're now calling it just like search everywhere optimization. That's really what it is, what it should be called. AEO is answer engine optimization and focuses on creating content that answers common customer questions. What does a generator cost? How big a generator should I get? How long does it take to install? Questions like that should be answered on your website, on their own pages, so that the answer engines can track it. GEO is generative, so it's more content that is being pulled from your site and different areas of the internet. And the generative engine optimization is going to be primarily for chat-based tools, ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, things like that. And man, we can go on forever in terms of how do I get myself ranked in ChatGPT? First of all, it's not important right now. Right? We have a very small amount of searching, a million queries, a million monthly queries with ChatGPT, 10 million on searches. So it's a very small amount. And most of the people that are using ChatGPT are just searching, how do I rewrite this essay or how do I answer a question, things like that. They're not thinking to search what are the best generator dealers in my area. But hey, if they do search, you want to definitely be there. So that's why I say search everywhere optimization is probably the better acronym for that, so that you get it that it needs to be you need to be everywhere. Google is still king for direct service based searches. GEO, the driven platforms are catching up very fast. It's something that we're watching on a weekly basis. We're communicating with other teams and other agencies that are focused in on that. But FAQs on your website, education on your website, this stuff will help for that. Those kind of search engines too are using things like Quora and Reddit and Wikipedia. So it's hard to really focus in on, all right, let's make our website rank us for ChatGPT when they don't even technically use the internet that widely. And you'll actually see it if you search with 5 different AI search engines on where you rank, you'll see varying results. Okay, and these are the answer engines. Like I said, for example, Google AI, mostly Reddit, YouTube, Quora, ChatGPT, most of it from Wikipedia. Perplexity gets their content from Reddit. So I think you'd be able to make some changes if you're really into Reddit. If you really want to do this, is where you have to go to write some content for AI. So we want to talk about the new search engine optimization or search everywhere optimization formula. We want to figure out those most important keywords. I'm not going to bore you to death with keywords and writing content and all this other stuff. So I was just going to move through it pretty quickly because you get it. You need to have content on your website. You need to post on a consistent basis. Knowing those keywords, knowing what people are searching, whole house generator, standby generator, home backup power, things like that are the most common searches, the ones that we're targeting on a regular basis. You can even use search engine. You can use some software to help you figure out what those keyword tools are. And I'll get into what we do for you. But set up a great website with unique pages, targeting those keywords. That is the best that you can do. Pages for each of your services, generator installation, Generac generators, Kohler generators, Briggs and Stratton generators, maintenance, generator service and repair. Having a specific page for each one that talks about what it is that you do, where you do it, and some frequently asked questions, some bulleted lists, things like that on the page is ideal. Make sure you optimize your website for user experience. This helps with conversion. You want to make sure that they are in and out. They hit your website, what you do, where you do it, get your phone number, fill out the form, hit the chat. Those are basically your core vitals. Optimize your site for SEO. Just having some back end stuff. You want to make sure that you have the proper schema tags and all the underlying coded structure in place. Most of you guys might have a WordPress site that already has a lot of that built in, but having an expert look at those and handle that could be the difference between 10 leads a month and 20 leads a month, really having the infrastructure in place for your website. Build authority offsite. So off your website, build authority, have a YouTube channel, have a podcast. I know you don't have time for a podcast, but you can have a YouTube channel, you can shoot video, and you can create some real content while you're out there installing generators or showing the startup, showing an oil change, showing some of the issues that you deal with on a regular basis. And track your results, making sure that you know that your website traffic is constantly going up, your website conversion is going up, which means if you get 1,000 visits to your website and you're only getting 2 leads from your website per month, there's something wrong with conversion. You're not converting those visitors into actual leads. You want to make sure that you check down on those things and keep looking at it. Keywords are in the workbook. So this will help you with running pay-per-click ad campaigns. If you do hire somebody to handle your ad campaigns for you, this is a great tool that you can just hand them and say, here, these are our keywords. You don't know much about generators, so here's our keywords. And they'll just take this and they'll be able to create campaigns with that. But this also gives you a guide in terms of what kind of content you should be writing on your website. It's up there on page 31. Okay. Now, just so you know, too, we can do the heavy lifting for you too on a strategy session. We don't You're not obligated to hire us or pay us or anything like that. What we want to do really is help you guys. So if you book a strategy session with us, we will go through an analysis of your online visibility, a custom keyword list of how you're actually ranking, and most important search terms. We'll actually show you some changes that you can make on your website that can help you better that. We'll give you a ranking report and show you exactly where you rank currently. We'll do an analysis of your online directory. We'll look at your competition. We'll look at your reviews and your reputation, help make sure that you understand some of the changes you need to make there, and an analysis of your social presence and your website conversion effectiveness. And what we do ask on the acceleration session for three competitors that you might be competing with, that we can actually look and see how they do against you on the digital ranking or in the search ranking aspect. So book the acceleration session with us and we can sit down and show you that. It takes 45 minutes and we'll also show you our program at the same time. And like I said, we're also going to be in Vegas next month. And if you want to meet us in person, you can actually book the strategy session and then book a time slot with us in person in Vegas next month. That'd be cool. That'd be the first time we're doing that. And you have the ability to schedule an appointment at that time too. All right, so moving on. This is also in the workbook. When I look at our general SEO stuff, I could talk for days on SEO and search everywhere optimization, but your website, the checkbook there's a checklist, sorry, in the workbook for all of that. So you want to do your on-page checklist, your Google business profile, make sure that's claimed, make sure you're getting reviews, make sure you're optimizing your Google profile, write some ongoing content, signals that you want to leverage. You want to write your content so that you're showing off your expertise, your authority, your trust. Make sure that you have all of that in place and setting up your website and making sure all of the underlying stuff is taken care of. Having all of this checked off, and you should be tracking how this is all doing. We're going to get into that too. Just to reiterate, this is one of our clients that we've had for a long time, and then we're writing content to, and we see from writing content and managing the website and creating new content, updating on the website, having real photos, real images, all authentic. We see him number one placed on the map, number one placed in organic, number one placed in ChatGPT, with some really great pictures of a recent install and his trucks, address, phone number, all right here. Pretty clean. This is a nice, solid package, and SEO is now running and operating the way he wants it. And it's, like I said, it's bringing in 73% of his business. And really, all there is to do now is to consistently write content, create pages on his site to make sure that it stays where it is, and track how it's doing. And updating and refreshing the site on a regular basis. We're actually overhauling his entire site today with all new photography just to keep it fresh, keep it new, and make sure the SEO is and the ranking signals that Google is looking for is that the website is being updated on a regular basis, not a set it and forget it situation. So in the workbook, there is a page for a self-assessment, how you are doing with organic SEO, a red, a green, and a yellow. How are you guys all doing? You can even put it in the chat. Would love to see the different variety of what you really need to work on in terms of organic SEO. Is your website solid? You're confident the website is built to convert. You're confident the website has all of those aspects and all those details, and the website is designed to bring in you leads. Maybe it's okay, maybe it's in the yellow, and maybe you need to do some work or take some pictures. Maybe it's just too generic, or you're using a generic microsite, which try to get the website redone. We do that also. And just so you know, if you are interested in talking with us about doing all of this for you, the first thing we do is rebuild your website, make sure that it has all the proper underlying code and is built for SEO, and it has all of everything that it needs for highest conversion and content as well. Now the next piece, and it does get quicker as we go. Okay, that was probably the longest one that's going to take is the organic SEO, because there's 9 aspects here, and I just want to make sure you all know it's going to go a little bit quicker. But the next thing we want to focus in on is paid search. This is another big one. I already touched down on a little bit. But here's our foundation. Okay, so our foundation is our organic. This is our SEO. This is our website, our Google business profile, our content, And everything built from that is where we need to focus first. Okay, if you have a Generac microsite and now you're starting to run ads, you're going to spend more money for those leads because you're not sending them to good quality content, and you are not optimizing your spend. You are definitely throwing some of that money away if you don't have that foundation in place. Only after that foundation is in place, then you can layer on paid search, Google for search, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, things like that. Only after you have an organic foundation. And make sure that you're throwing those ads, you're sending, people are linking to good quality content. They got pictures of your trucks and your people, you got good frequently asked questions, all of that information on your page so that they're confident where they've just clicked. Now they are where they want to be and they can reach out. After that, then you want retargeting running because now you're forcing clicks and people are looking, they're clicking your ads, they're spending your money, they're going to your website, and then, I don't know, they get distracted or they go to another page or something like that, and the ad didn't work. So you have to have retargeting clean up that mess for you. So retargeting is going to now, what happens is they click their ad, you go to your page, we drop a cookie or a pixel, and now the ads will continue to show on their social feed throughout the next 2, 3 weeks to try to, oh yeah, I remember, get them back to your website and try to convert. Very important to have retargeting running right after you have ad campaigns operating. You can run retargeting before ad campaigns, but you probably won't have a lot of traffic to your retargeting. But you can do it. After that, after you have those, then you can focus in some more budget if you want on some of the paid directories, Angie's and Thumbtack, things like that. And then you work on the top level, layering in direct mail, radio, TV, or even TikTok, things like that, that kind of more brand specific, brand awareness. That's the kind of stuff we layer in after we have these aspects in place. So, why paid search should be part of your internet marketing strategy. So, remember, this is a whole strategy. Okay, so we don't want to just focus on one place, and we need to make sure that you are showing up in a lot of different areas because that's where people are. They're everywhere. So, we want to make sure that we start showing up quickly. That's so one of the reasons why you want to run paid search is that you show up quickly. SEO takes some time. It's investment in your company, but it does take time to build that ranking, to get those leads to start coming in, to get Google to start providing you as a resource. So paid ads will start showing up real quick. They show up as often as possible where your customers are looking. So when they do a search, your ads are coming up first. It comes up above the Google map. It creates urgency. You can remind people in your area of the need for a generator. If we're following a storm, following a big outage, you can actually target a particular county that's just had a tornado, a hurricane, flooding, or even just whatever shutoffs that you typically have out in California. Things like that can get their attention. And there might be searching, just had a shut off, I need backup power, things like that, and your ads start coming up because of these situations. And then show up for non-geo-modified terms, electrician, generator, home standby power, things like that. These are the types of search terms that you want to be showing up for and that you can force your ads to show up for those. And then there's unlimited scalability. So you can make sure that those ads are showing on a constant basis all the time. So it's very good to have these ads running and having it budgeted. Because you've got it budgeted, you can then focus some of that money on the pay-per-click. Local service ads is a little different. This is Google guaranteed. We don't recommend this just for generator dealers who don't do electrical or anything like that because LSA just has an electrician category and a subcategory of restore power. We haven't actually seen generator leads come in with only that checked off. So LSA is great for the electricians who also do generators or HVAC, things like that. Local service ads is really big because it puts you at the very top. Google guaranteed has your little checkbox there or your little icon. And what that means is, and I'm not sure if Google is actually continuing this, and they actually may stop, that Google guaranteed may stop insuring the project. So my understanding is that they'll insure the project for up to $50,000 or whatever if something goes sideways. That's the Google guaranteed. So they do a background check and all this other stuff. Yeah, I just went through the pros and cons. Okay. And they have a dashboard. The local service ads dashboard shows you what they charge. They charge you for the leads without you even knowing. So you have to make sure that you're in there. You rate the leads. make sure that they're actually legit so that you can help train the Google algorithm. Rate this lead, very satisfied, dissatisfied, and then it will ask you for a description. Does have a low cost per lead. So LSA is pretty effective if you're just running a electrical business, $31 per lead. So really, Google Ads is where it's at in terms of where should we spend our money for pay-per-click. You set up a Google ad, residential backup generators, you set up headlines, and all the stuff is in the workbook for your keywords. You can show it with pictures. You can show it with your location on the phones, on the phone devices, financing options available, never lose power. Again, these are the different types of ads that you want to be running on a regular basis. And why most of these campaigns fail, trust me on this, we've experienced all of these issues. And if you don't understand the ad auction process, you will never spend enough money to really make it work in your benefit. $17 a day versus $25 a day, depending on your market and the amount of competition that exists, you could never show up. And the cost per click could be very high. So something that you want to focus in on and make sure that you're watching on a regular basis. If you end up setting up only one ad group for all your services, electrical generators, this is not good. You want to make sure you break that down. If you don't use specific text ads and landing pages for your group of keywords, it will reduce the quality score on your ads. If you just send them to your homepage, Google knows this. So Google is not going to serve up your ad as frequently, although they'll try to spend your money as best as they can, but the quality lead flow is going to be lower because you're just sending them to the homepage and not a relevant landing page that works directly with that ad copy. And if there's no strong call to action or offer, 100% financing is probably the biggest one. Free warranty or free 10-year warranty is the second biggest one. $500 off your install, things like that you want to make sure that you're on your ads. And like I said, one campaign that has all of these keywords that push to your homepage. So I want to make sure that you're focusing on that. Here's just a kind of a lead breakdown for a Google Ads campaign. Just to show you basically that if our total spend is $2,500, we see that we have 23 conversions from that $2,500, which your total cost per conversion is about $110. And this is a good number. This is a good target range for your ad campaigns. And remember too that you have 952 clicks, but because you got retargeting in place, these can still convert over the next couple of weeks. So important to have retargeting in place, important to know and understand your cost per click, your cost per conversion, important to track it, know how much money you're putting out on the ad spend directly, know what your return on investment is. If you have 23 leads and you converted 30%, it's almost 7 sold installs, right? Your average price, 17.5, it's probably a little bit less. And 7 installs is 122 grand, 48x return on investment from your $2,500 spend. So if you have your ads dialed in the right way, you can really do well, especially at that. Here are your must-haves for your ad campaigns. Conversion tracking is a must. Get into that in a second. You want to make sure that you have the proper tracking of when somebody clicks, somebody fills out a form, or calls you from your Google Ads. You have to have your campaigns broken up into smaller groups. Have that keyword match site. Make sure that you understand the keywords and your headlines are all properly written. And write those compelling ads that resonate with people. Backup power, don't lose power again. Storms will kill your power, things like that. Leverage your ad extensions to make sure your ads stand out on the page. There are some different things that you could do for Google Ads. And have your visitors land on a solid pulled out pages on your site. And I think I have a sample visual on that, but I'm not so sure. But here, oh yes, here's one of the pages where there's no navigation on these landing pages for the Google Ads. We don't want them to browse around once they get to your page. So you take the navigation out and you have a tracking phone number on it that's different from your regular phone number. You have a special form on it so you can track where that lead came from. You have the call to action, which is $500 off, 100% financing, over 400 5-star reviews, free estimate, have all this stuff on the top. Remember, the intent is high. So they already know what they're looking for. They already know that they're looking for a generator, they're doing an install. So knowing that, your content on the website could be specific to them. Hey, we do 100% financing. We'll give you 500, but you don't have to talk about why a generator and all that other stuff. Frequently asked questions on how long does it take? What's the process? Who you're going to talk to? How long is the estimate? That kind of thing. And make sure you get a phone number and the form at the very top. And the Facebook ad landing pages are different, right? Those are more educational because you're putting these ads in front of them and having them go to a page where they want to learn more about what it is that you're doing with a generator installation, what and how it can benefit them. But don't spend another penny until you have tracking in place. Here's some here's how we do it. Okay, so number swapping with different phone numbers. So we use CallRail. And CallRail gives us the ability to purchase a local phone number or a local set of phone numbers that will automatically swap on your website, giving us more background data on what that person's searching or what their intent was, and shows us where they're calling in from. So if you're using a specific phone number that you purchased, $3 a month, on a Google ad, and every time that phone rings, you know it's coming from the ad, so that you can directly correlate that back to what you're spending. That's a keyword pool, right? So that's the number swapping where QualRel will give you maybe 4 or 5 numbers you can put on your website. Get another specific number for Google Ads. And you could also use web form tracking. So when the form lead comes in, it tells you what the source was, whether your generator install landing page or your home page, things like that. And your conversion tracking into Google ad campaign determines which ad group generated the lead. That's Google will actually give you that data until you tell you which ad actually brought that lead in so that you can track and build an ROI dashboard and have all of that figured out. Okay, so that was ads. Do a little self-assessment on your ads. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. I think everything's going pretty smoothly, unless my audio stopped at some point. But do a little self-assessment on how your paid search is going. If you're okay, if you're running them, or if you're not running them, if you're running them, but not with everything that I specified. This is just a visual for you, and having these all colored in is a good visual for you of where you need to focus your time and energy. All right, everybody ready for the next part? I'm really just talking to my camera. All right. Kevin, thank you. Ready. All right. All right, moving on to our database. Okay, this is also a piece of drive leads. Now it's going to start to get faster. Okay, so SMS messaging, our existing customer base. If you have an electrical business, if you have a HVAC business, in addition to your generator business, you want to leverage that database. You want to send a periodic SMS text message about some of the recent promotions, about the 10-year warranty that Kohler puts out, that Generac puts out every once in a while. Remind them, send out emails for that have value, right? Send emails. This keeps you top of mind. So make sure your generator doesn't look like this in the middle of winter. Make sure it looks like this. Things like that that you can work into the email that has some value. You don't want to do a hard sell in your email. That's why I send in email invitations to my webinars, because it's all it is value. So make sure you're doing that. And what that does is just puts you back on the forefront of their mind. Oh, I got to call these guys to sign up for a maintenance agreement, or oh, I got to call them for an electrical project, or whatever, or forwards it to their friend and say, this is the company I used for my generator installation. Call them because I know you want a generator. So this helps with your referral business. Do one that promotes your 10% off your next electrical project, or do one that promotes your portable generator hookups if that's the kind of thing that you guys do. Emails are great. One a month is fine. Messaging them because they're your customer is okay. So I would say I would steer clear of the SMS messaging too frequently. Don't SMS message them more than once a month. Don't email them more than once a month. Keep that flow steady and try not to be too spammy. That's why the hard sell emails they'll end up just going to spam. People just delete them. If, just as an example, if you have a list of over 3,000 past customers, or let's say estimates that you sent out that never closed, or leads that came in that never booked estimates, you still have their information. It's important, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you continuously nurture them back to your business, make sure that they know that you're still there and you're still wondering, that kind of thing. So you got over 3,000 people. and you get, let's keep the numbers low, 180 replies and 70 leads from that 3,000 and only 14 installs completed, the revenue, there's no spend here. This is all gravy. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that email list and make sure that you're consistently tracking that too. It's hard, a little hard to track, but having that in place and maybe even automating the email so that you build out a 12-month campaign, right? We have this all already pre-built. We have a 12-month campaign. We have your database of customers or electrical customers and your estimates that didn't close and your leads that didn't book estimates automatically go into this workflow and they consistently get those emails. Once they reply or once you book, once they become a customer, they come out of that workflow. So set it up. It's a lot to set up, but once it's set up and it's working and running, it's beautiful because you just get a job out of nowhere. Rate yourself, do an assessment on your database. I want to bet that most people are probably in the red here because everybody that we talk to, yeah, we have a list. There is a best day. My favorite is the Sunday evening. This is where everybody's winding down from their weekend, getting ready for their workday, probably around a 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m. This is when they're on the couch scrolling. I know this because this is what my wife and I do. Scrolling, that's when the email will pop up and it gets the most attention. Text message, pretty much anytime, just make sure it's during the day. And I wouldn't do a text message on the weekend either, just like a Monday through Friday. And I wouldn't do it during lunch hours either. So those are some really good times. And then holidays, steer clear from week before, week after holidays, because you just end up getting buried under a whole lot of spam. Okay, moving on. Now maximizing, so now we've covered driving leads. Let's make sure that we are all driving leads in these three areas. We have our websites dialed in, we're running search, we're running our database campaign, and this is where our leads are coming from. Now, does maybe lead flow is not the problem. Maybe the leads are coming in, but they're not converting. I'm sorry, maybe the traffic is coming in and you're getting all the attention and the engagement and everything, but they're not converting into leads. You're getting all these visitors to your website and everybody's liking my content and stuff, but I'm not getting any business. So we want to make sure that you maximize conversion. There are a few things we want to do that with your website. Just so you know, have your website structured so that it's what you do and where you do it. New Jersey's generator experts, power on when it's powered most. Have your team on here, your family picture, your phone number in the corner, things like that. Really important to have your page structured in such a way. Delaware's most reliable electrician and Generac standby generator expert. Phone number in the top. Even a form, content form on the page would be ideal, and a little chat message or a chat bubble so you can chat with somebody or an AI assistant, that kind of thing on the website helps with conversion. So you got to be able to communicate the way that the visitor wants to communicate. We're looking at 493 web sessions, not a whole lot, but when you look at 37 actual leads from that, it's a 7.5% website conversion. We want to be over 5%. This is our target, is better than 5% conversion. That means the website's doing its job. That means your SEO and your content is doing its job. It's only your ads are doing their job, only bringing in relevant traffic, not spam and not random people. I once had a client that built a blog of all of this helpful generator information and HVAC and all this other stuff, but it wasn't specific to their town. And they were getting 6,000 visits a day, but from all over the country, even all over the world. But this doesn't do them any good because they need leads locally. So their conversion rate is it's very hard to track a good conversion rate because they have a blog that doesn't do anything but drive traffic, and having traffic come in from all over the world doesn't help them. So what you do and where you do it on all of the copy and content through your site to help with that conversion rate consistently. For example, 421 sessions in that month with 45 leads puts us at over 10% website visitor to lead conversion. And just to run through a scenario why it's so important. I know you probably can't see that, but that's 500. If we have 500 visitors per month and a 5% conversion rate at 25 calls, 30% conversion, 7.5 booked installs, 14,500 average transaction. We have a revenue of $108,000 for the month. Now, if we focus our energy and effort on conversion, and we have our chat, we have our forum, we have our website, mobile friendly, loads fast, great content, what you do, where you do it, and now we're converting at 15%. We didn't do anything more to send more visitors. All we did was change the conversion, which takes a little bit of effort and work on your website to increase the conversion, which increases your calls at the same conversion rate, gets you more jobs, more with the same average transaction, and can triple your revenue if you can triple that conversion rate. So track it, make sure that everything is flowing nicely and you can communicate the way they want to communicate, and you can increase that conversion rate. So a few things that I want to just reiterate: be real and authentic, right? Pictures of your team, whether it's you and the owner or just the two owners, that kind of thing. Your trucks, you yourself, the owner themselves with their family, that kind of thing on there. You want to leverage multimedia, have your videos on there. This guy does a really great job with, check out our new referral app. We're referring for referral, business referrals, things like that. Another video down here, just doing an install. We're going to run through it on a time lapse. This is a pretty cool video, but having this on your website also helps with conversion. They see that you're real. They see that you're on top of it. They see that you're reliable. They can actually see and experience you via on a video, which can help. Yeah, these are the guys I want to call. So it can help. It helps that conversion. Leverage your social proof. So on your website, you want to show all of your reviews, your 5-star reviews, 19 years of experience, all of these great things that people have to say about you. Go out there and you work so hard to do such a great job. You want to make sure that you're getting the reviews. So the fundamentals, phone number in the top right, check out our reviews. You want to point it out on your homepage, have the form, have your team top rated, quality focus, priced for you. Have your offer on the website too. Special offers can help get them through. So you want to have a link that takes them to the booking form, the soft booking, or the contact page on a regular basis. Considering live chat, this is also something that you want to try to put together. There's a lot of software that do that. 4.5 billion people now own mobile phones, so your site is being used on mobile. 3 out of 5 consumers, I just noticed it was 11:15. 3 out of 5 consumers research for local businesses on their smartphone. So make sure that you're mobile responsive. The website loads fast. You have a click to call phone number at the very top of the website. So when you touch that number, it'll ask you if you want to call. This is also in the checkbook. You have your check boxes. Go through. Is your website optimized for search? Are you optimized for AI platforms? This is new. Google Maps, check boxes, and make sure that everything is dialed in. And now rate yourself. Rate yourself on your website. How are you doing? Red, yellow, green, so that you know where you need to focus some of your energy and your time. So the next thing we want to talk about, maximizing conversion, is our reputation. Very important. You can have software connect and funnel through Service Titan, House Call Pro, Jobber, anything like that. So once the job is completed, automatic messages go out to the customers. We use software called Nearby Now, where our technicians are checking in at the site, taking a picture of the project, quick little description, 26 kW install, and they're standing there on the lawn with the customer. Hey, would you mind giving us a review? It would really help us out. They click a button and say, I can email it, I can send you a text, you can scan this QR code, put them on the spot and get that review. This is beyond anything that you can do to help yourself, is to get as many Google reviews as you can. Super important and consistent as well. We started out with 51 Google reviews, 61 a month later. We're getting 10 a month, and we're 2 years in, and we're now at 302. 251 reviews in 24 months, and he was consistent. Every 10, every single month. Very important that you try to get those numbers in, not just one big bang. Make sure that you're consistently getting reviews, because these are ranking signals for Google, so that Google understands that you're doing business, it's consistent, and you're doing really well, really good work. Respond to these reviews. It's key. Put a system in place so that every review gets tracked and measured. You don't have to track and measure it, but you do have to respond to it. You have somebody on your team responding to every review, good, bad, or indifferent. and formulate a strategy for professionally addressing and dealing with negative reviews. This is all part of your business. I'm sure that you don't get bad reviews. Things happen. We have AI software. You can actually use software to automatically respond to these reviews. They're really good. The reviews are excellent. They respond using their name, they respond using the project that they did, they thank them, and it's automatic. So review yourself on your reputation. Super important. And it doesn't just help with conversion, right? So people see that you've done good business and you got 5-star reviews all over your site. That's great, but it's also going to help with your ranking. So the more reviews you have, the better work that you do, the more 5-star reviews you have on your Google profile, the more Google is going to serve you up and help you with your ranking. Super important, helps with all of that. So it's a twofold, two-pronged channel. Next thing we're going to talk about is automation. I know that I know that we've gone over, we're about an hour 15 now, maybe another 10 minutes. Hopefully it's all good. You're all still here, so I'm sure it's all good. Okay, so automation, something that you can build into all of this software. You got leads coming in, right? What is the problem? 50 to 60% of inbound leads leave unconverted, 90% fail, 90% of the web forms fail. Some of the reasons is because the leads aren't followed up with 15 minutes, they go cold. I know that everybody I talk to say, oh, I answer a lead immediately, like within minutes. So that's great. But inside of 15 minutes, you got to understand when people are filling out that form, a homeowner will fill out that form and instantly go straight to another site. And they'll fill out a form there. Then they'll go to another competitor and fill out a form there. If you have a text message system automation in place so that they get a text message immediately, as soon as that they submit that form, their phone chirps, hey, this is Turn to Electric. I just got your submission. Look forward to talking with you. When's the best time to call? In a text message. That stops them from going to the competitor. It stops them from going anywhere else. They're instantly chatting with the company that they just filled out the form with. And although it was automated, they don't really know that, but now they're going to respond in text. And now that you can use automation to kind of delay that process. Leveraging marketing automation, follow up with web forms within 2 minutes. Like I said, follow up within 2 seconds it could even be better, and automate that prospect. So the prospect is touched 5 times. You probably don't have to do that, but maybe after an estimate is sent, you want to have those 5 to 6 touch points. This is just an example of what an automation workflow looks like. So when the form comes in and the CSR team reaches out, we book the estimate, complete the estimate, and we send it to the customer. And now we've got automation in place. Hey, we just sent you the estimate. What do you think? Let's get started. Then we wait for a response, or we wait a day. If they don't respond, we send another text and an email, and we wait a day. If they don't respond, we send them a text. This is a 60-day cycle for after you send an estimate. So something that you can probably put your mind at ease is just like after you send the estimate, now you don't have to worry about following up. Just go back to work and trust that the automation is in place to help close that deal. Automated postcards. This is a fun one. So we use modern postcard that can sync up with Service Titan, Housecall Pro, Service Fusion, all these other guys. And on generator startup, or once the generator's been completed or the project's been done, we send out a postcard to 20 neighbors, right? To 20 neighbors saying, hey, your neighbor will never go without power again. What does it say? Your neighbor will never lose power again. Get peace of mind with a home standby generator. Sorry for the mess. Hope the noise wasn't so bad. Things like that in the postcard that you can send to the actual neighbors, and that could get the attention. I think you can see where that could be a benefit. But we're also automating with modern postcard. We're also automating a postcard send from actual visits to your website. Their software can locate their address and can send a postcard, one-off postcards as they visit the website. So this is like another level of creepy, is how I put it. You get the ads that follow you around. I was just thinking about this, and now you're getting a postcard in the mail because of a website you just visited, and you may not even remember that, but you were there for some reason. So this is proven to be pretty good. So rate yourself on automation. I know most people, most companies, most generator dealers do not use automation, and it's something that they want to get into. Kevin, you said, can that only be done with those companies shown? No, you can manually set up a list. We're actually manually emailing Modern Postcard a list here. Here are the 10 recent installs that we did this month. We'd like to send 20 postcards to each of their neighbors. Yeah, we can probably pull some webhooks from QuickBooks in terms of completed jobs, but it might be easier, more effective to just paste a customer's address into the spreadsheet and have that update on Modern Postcard to send the neighbors an email. They were for the neighbor emails, they require a minimum 100 cards per send. You have to give them a list. You can't just do one address at a time. But yeah, we can do anything. All right. Now we've driving leads, we're maximizing conversions. We want to optimize these results. Like I said, don't do anything unless you track it. Prepare your budget. Make sure that you've got your budget planned. 5%, less than 5% to remain stagnant on what you do. 6 to 15% for moderate growth. Oh, I had these numbers wrong before. And 15% and everything beyond that accelerates your growth. You do need to spend money to make money. Make sure you know your average cost per lead. We're at 150 bucks per lead for your paid Google ads, about 75 bucks for your social ads, 60 bucks for your organic, maybe less. If your website was built and it's great and it works great, and you're getting leads like crazy through your website, that's a 0% cost per lead because those leads are coming in organically and through your local maps. Your blended average, you want to be around 100 bucks per lead. So if you need 75 leads per month, you're paying $7,500 for those qualified leads. So easy to do the math once you know the cost per lead and how much money you want to allocate and what your conversion rate is on those leads. Return on your investment. Half my advertising spend is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. So you're going to track all of that. And in a 6-month period, you have 129 generated installation leads at 40% conversion, 52 booked installations. And just know all of this stuff as you go and have this, your ROI, your return on investment, 37.14. That's your X. So on your spend, multiply the spend, and that's what your marketing spend is 21 grand. You're making 780. It's 37 times your spend. So having that number in place so that you can make it better on a consistent basis and have that squared off for the entire month. ROI insights reports. We do this for our clients. So what we do is we prepare a tracking report that is already synced up to all of our data, everything that we're tracking. We look at how many sessions, how many website visitors we have, how many leads we get from that, what the conversion rate is, 3.6%, shooting for 5, what the total investment is, almost 3,500 bucks for the month, and our average cost per lead is $110 blended from all the channels, organic website, our Google profile, Google Ads, and maybe web forms or Facebook. We're tracking our ongoing progress. Matlock, same thing, 10.5%, $2,800 spend. We have 12 generator installs, 4 generator service calls, and 29 or so electrical or other. So going back to your self-assessment, self-assess on each of these. Do you know how much money you're putting out on the spend? Do you know how much money you're putting out for people to manage your spend? Do you know how much money you're putting out for marketing in general? Do you know how much you're getting back? And do you know your average cost per lead? Or is your phone just ringing and you're just out there on that sailboat going wherever it takes you? Okay, so I want to do any takeaways. I'm going to just do a really quick recap. Would be great as I go through the next few slides. I got a few more. Maybe put in your chat what you need to work on most, any questions you might have. I'm going to stick around when we're done too. So plan your focus. Make sure that you've got your budget, you've got your allocations, and stick to it, right? Make sure you have that plan in place. Make sure you know you're putting $3,000 a month into your SEO. You're putting $1,700 into your ad spend. You're putting a couple $100 into your retargeting budget. And make sure that you stick with that, track it on a monthly basis, plan that focus with email marketing, things like that that can help you along the way, and have an ROI dashboard in place, right? So the power connection, doing this consistently for a long time, since this is one of our clients since February of 2024, this is 2 years in now, that it just swells up with a consistent amount of growth and a constant progression, making sure that you're ranking number one in the entire area that you're doing work in, not just right around your office. Another one of our clients making sure that since June of 2024, we just see a steady increase of lead flow and, trying to better this. So what we need to do with this particular client is spend more money on ads and put more time and effort into the actual marketing strategy and shift some of the budget over to more Google ad campaigns or offsite campaigns, maybe spend a little bit of money doing some video, some creating some more content. So always room to grow the business and scale. And don't forget, we're going to do an acceleration session for you. All you have to do is fill out that form. We go through all of those details, and we want to meet you guys in Vegas. So we're going to have a 1 hour power hour, I think, at Harrah's Hotel, Las Vegas Hotel and Casino. I'm going to send an email out for that, but we're looking forward to that. We're going to do like a power hour, maybe 7 to 9 p.m. on January 27th. We'll try to have the hotel set us up with a little squared off section at the bar, in the lobby bar, with a sign that says Power Source. So please look for us. It would be great to meet you. Thanks for coming out. Hope this wasn't too long. 90 minutes. This is typical, right? This is what it takes to build a marketing strategy. But I think the biggest takeaway here, I hope you really got a lot out of in the value of planning your budget and making sure that you have it written down what your target goal is. This is the most important. Awareness precedes change. So let's make sure that we've got the goals written down and we're good to go. So thank you for coming. I'm happy to chat with anybody if you want to stick around and ask me any questions. Kevin, you might have questions. But thanks for coming, everybody, and I will look forward to seeing you guys next month, hopefully at the Generac convention. Yes, I'm glad you said useful. It is a lot to sift through. I'm glad it's useful. I'm happy to help out too, for sure. Shoot me an email too, and if you need any help with anything or book the strategy session. This is valuable. So we'll actually do some research on your competition. We'll research your website. We'll show you where you can do some of the work and help you. There's no obligation to hire us or anything, although that is the end goal. We're looking forward to working with new generator dealers in 2026. That includes Kevin. One way electric, Kevin. There's only one way. The only way. Yeah, that's good. I can't change my company name though. The only way marketing. This is the way. Yeah. I don't think I left anything out. So all you have to do is just follow it step by step. This is the way. This works for all of our dealers. And how fast it works too, it's variable. You do so much effort, so much work with SEO, and sometimes it kicks in real fast, like two months in, and we're starting to see leads. But sometimes it could be 4 or 5 months before you see leads from SEO. Sometimes what we do, we prioritize SEO in terms of onboarding because we want the website to look great and to be fully functional within that first month. But at the same time, we run Google ads, we run Facebook ads to try to get you off the ground fast so that we can see leads and see leads quickly. And that's what some of these other guys that they just do Facebook leads or they just do the actual booking. Hey, you only pay when you get a lead. These are, I've had clients actually try these guys out, and it's just a lot of spinning your wheels and a lot of setup cost, a lot of ongoing cost. So, yeah, they're not, yeah, some of them are frauds. You have to really watch out for some of these guys, but it's important to do due diligence and look at their testimonials and talk with some of their customers too. Some of the guys are legit, but they're only one tactic. They only focus on one channel. They're only sending you Facebook leads. This is not conducive to a scaling company, and it's not where you should focus. You need to be focused on multi-channel. The only thing that will scale your business, the only thing that will grow your business, that scalable growth is really what you're after. You don't want to just get leads now and pay for leads as they come in, and then when you stop paying, they stop coming in, because that will happen. You can't just pay $50 a day for your ad campaign and now you're getting leads, which is great, but it's not going to stay like that. We've ran Facebook ad campaigns from January to January for generator dealers. The leads are almost consistent, but the quality is very bad from January to February to March. And then the quality comes up in March, April, May. Now they're more interested. And then we're in the summer, depending on the market. Now you're getting a lot of quality leads coming from the Facebook ads, but then they start to die off. And now you're slowing down. And now your trucks stop moving. And now your guys don't have installs, but you're still spending the same amount of money in Facebook ads. Then you turn it off, and then you've got nothing. So you have to be multi-channel approach. You have to have that multi-channel approach and make sure that you're getting leads from a lot of those different areas. All right, so a lot of guys still here. If there's any other slides you want me to go back and touch on, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. I don't think we're doing a webinar next month, but because we'll be in Vegas. But I hope to see you guys there. All right, I'm gonna say goodbye and turn it off. So be sure to do an acceleration session, and I got a few workbooks that people are looking to get in the mail still. Happy to get those out so you can get yourself prepared for 2026 and move forward. So that being said, if anybody has any other questions or wants to talk offline, I'm free today. You just shoot me a message and we'll do that. I think maybe the people that are still here don't realize that we've ended. But happy that you guys came. I'm gonna cut it off. Thanks very much again, and talk to you guys all soon. Take care.